do you mean we missed a week? We didn't go anywhere.
No, I mean, there was nothing happening in the world of football. No big news.
It's weird. They took Super Wild Card Weekend. They just decided to to not play, I guess.
No coach firings, no coach hirings, no GM searches. Everything just got paused for 2 weeks.
It's the weirdest thing. Like nothing happened. Yeah. Well, we are back. We're back, and now we're official. Yeah, we finally got our sign, so we're like official, like a whistle. Yeah. Some things come up, things happen. Mm-hmm. We have to do this.
We have
around lives and families and sicknesses.
Yep.
Sorry about that.
Sickness and health. Yeah. You know, it is what it is.
It is what it is. But we're back on the divisional round. Normally, I mean, we're so used to going through like how many different games,
right,
and making our picks and stuff. Mm-hmm. And now we have 4 games.
Now we got 4 games. Unless we wanted to go back to the week before and double up. I was most upset by the fact that I could not talk about the Dallas Cowboys.
You know, and I saw my cousin over the weekend, and it's specifically, we were talking about that, and I go, and then you and I talked about it too, through text. We have to, I will always make time to laugh at the Dallas Cowgirls. We told you so.
Yeah.
We kind of told you so.
If you listen to this show, you would have made money.
You would have made money. Number one, you definitely would have made money.
And you could have made even more money by putting it against the Dallas Cowboys in the playoffs. Oof. And the Dolphins.
I will say, that was another hot take that came to fruition. Talking to my cousin after it happened, I think there was a level of salt amongst the Dallas Cowboys. But then talking to him yesterday, he was more like grounded as far as like, we can't say anything because you guys said it the whole time. Like, fucking prove it. Mm-hmm. And they didn't prove it.
No. I mean, at what point does it just become like, I mean, not like as fans of our teams, like obviously we had our down years. So like, you know, they had, I would try to frame it in that regard. Like, which season would have I preferred to have? It's like we all wind up in the same place now, but they got the division title, which if you care about those things. And they didn't prove it. And I'm surprised. I don't know. I'm not sure what your cousin felt, but I'm surprised they kept Mike McCarthy. I feel like Jerry Jones just wants a yes man, so he's just like whatever.
Well, they did come out and say that they weren't going to extend his contract either, which was very interesting.
Yeah, so he's just a lame duck at this point,
right? So I mean, it's going to be Super Bowl or bust. So now it's like this year was get to the conference finals because you haven't done it since '95. Next year it's going to be Super Bowl win or you're out.
Yeah, pretty much.
That seems like what it's going to be. That game too. Dak threw 2 picks. It could have been 4.
Yeah, he reverted back to his old self in that game. It was very strange.
It was him and CD were disconnected.
Yeah,
in the first half.
Yeah, CD dropped. Was it him that dropped an early pass?
Yeah, but even their communication, like the route was, they just did not.
Playoffs, man.
They were not jiving. So to date, I think Tony Romo had 1 playoff win.
And
I think Dak has 2 playoff wins. Mm-hmm. In the last how many years?
Yeah, right. And Jordan Love has 1 now. I mean, and the weirdest things, like, I mean, that game, and then you had the Tony Romo fumbling the snap game. The field goal winner. It was just weird. And like, he was only holding it because he was the backup at the start of the year, and he was still a holder. It's just weird stuff like that.
But I could see where it's those fluke plays like you're saying. This was just an ass kicking.
Oh yeah,
this one was just, I don't even know. This when you get killed like that, there's so much blame to go around. They looked like, and I think he brought it up, they looked like how they did when they went to Buffalo, and they just didn't fucking show up.
Yeah, and that weird, and it's weird because I know Dan Quinn isn't getting a lot of talk. I mean, the dude blew the Super Bowl. He's getting talk in like coaching circles again. Yep. And they let up. I don't think did the Packers ever punt? I don't even, it just seemed like touchdown after they scored nonstop. And anytime the Cowboys tried to rally, they would just come right back down and score another touchdown.
Yeah, because that's what I was worried about. It's like, you had a team like the Packers that had a young quarterback. They had no Pro Bowlers on that team.
Right, yeah.
And they're on the road. And the stars aligned for the Cowboys. This was your perfect opportunity because Philly only needed to beat the Giants and the Cardinals to close out the season to win the division. They lost both of those games. Dallas gets the number 2, wins the division, so they get the home game. They were 8-0 at home. Like, everything was like on a platter for them to at least advance.
Yep.
And they
not even the divisional round.
Credit to Green Bay though.
Yeah.
I mean, they almost snuck one out against the sleeping 49ers.
Right. That's one of the things. It's like, well, we saw what happened with Debo going down. You said it right away. Like, well, that's what happened when he went down earlier this year, and they lost 2 or 3 in a row, and they looked stuck in the mud as soon as he went out.
Yep.
So that's my hot take for the season. It's just like Debo's the one that makes them go round.
I think he's the glue.
Yeah.
Because they were never fully out of it in that game, but they were never like, I don't know, they were never fully into it until the end, and then that unfortunate the cross-body throw into triple coverage with Jordan Love. I'm sure he wishes he had that throw back, but
he's still young.
The Niners looked because Debo didn't go back into that game.
No, he came back out like at halftime. Remember they said he was without pads and stuff like that.
Yep.
The weirdest thing about that game, and Kyle, again, going back to that Super Bowl, the Dan Quinn Super Bowl, and Kyle Shanahan was the offensive coordinator. I don't know if you remember the end of the first half. They had like 1:50 on the clock. They ran the ball, wasted like 50 seconds. It was a very strange sequence of events. And then they tried like a 49-yard field goal. And the weather was an issue.
Yep.
And he missed. Or it got blocked. I think it got blocked. It was just a weird end of the first. They were playing very conservatively, which I thought was odd. And they only needed, if they're trying to get to field goal range, it's one thing. But they didn't even get into field goal range. They got into like a 40-yard range. And again, in the rain and the wind and stuff like that. We just saw it with the Bills game, too.
Yep.
Weird. I don't know.
Even that with Dan Quinn and no knock, but you look at that defense, that run defense, you said it all year, that run defense was bad. Dallas's run defense is shit.
And that's happened in the Bills game. The Bills ran all over them. I was thinking maybe being at home, they would have it, but they just didn't. And I picked them. Probably
I did too. Shame on us.
I don't think you did. I don't think
I did.
You did?
Against Green Bay?
Yeah, I think you said you couldn't. I thought you said that you would never pick. Oh, maybe you can.
You specifically said if they lose that game, I will never pick them again for the rest of my life.
Right, I did say that.
That was quote unquote. the Mo to the Joe. That was quote unquote. It was 100% said.
All right, so I guess I can't pick them again at all next year.
Never. Rightfully so.
I can't even pick the NFC for the Pro Bowl flag football game.
No, I did pick the Cowboys in that game.
Okay.
So wild card weekend, I had the Texans, the Chiefs, the Bills, Cowboys, Rams, and Bucks. So I went 4-2.
Yeah, we had the same pick except I took the Lions. Oh no, Lions? Did you say Lions?
No, I picked the Rams.
Okay, yeah.
Which again, all right. If we want to go back a week,
might as well. I mean, it's just the playoffs now. We're catching up on 2 weeks.
We're catching up on 2 weeks, so we'll talk about that game. I picked the Rams. No knock at Detroit because now I'm on the Lions bandwagon. I just need to see it at this point.
Right.
But at the end, it was like 3rd and 14, and where they were, I don't remember the exact yard line, but they didn't need a first down. They really just needed like 4 to 6, 7 yards to get in field goal range. Instead, they threw a 17-yard pass, incomplete, and they're not in field goal range. Like you didn't need to go for the home run. It was 3rd and 14. Just get like something.
Right.
You do a little like out route or something.
Yeah.
Dump off. Get 5 yards.
Yep.
And instead, that play calling was crazy to me. I remember saying it like, why are they going for the home run here? You don't need the first down. You just need to get in field goal range.
The exact same thing just happened in the Chiefs-Bills game.
Yeah.
They I don't know. Why is this happening across multiple games, across multiple weeks, where it's like you don't need the 40-yard touchdown.
No.
Just get 7 yards. You had 2 guys crossing over the middle.
Right.
I don't know.
Just get something. Yeah, that was very. I don't know who the OC is for the Rams.
Probably McVay, right?
McVay's
he probably calls
leading
the plays.
I just didn't get it. I mean, the whole play was set up to like. It's not like the play broke down and he was scrambling. That was the play.
Yeah.
I just didn't understand why you didn't need the first down.
Yeah.
You just need to get in range. And their kicker, his long was like in his career is like 63. So I mean, that was like the old record. So I don't get it.
Yeah. I would love to. I didn't really watch any of the post game from the Rams Bills game, but I would love to hear. I mean, you live by the gunslinger, you die by the gunslinger, especially in Josh Allen's case. I know we're bouncing back between games here, but it's like just take what they give you. But I don't know. I don't know. Yeah,
that was a weird one. Let's. I'll go back to the original Saturday games.
Sure. To
just run through it. Cleveland and Houston. I had Houston. I don't know. Did you have?
Yeah.
You had Houston?
Yeah.
Going with the CJ.
Yeah, I didn't. I thought the Flacco magic would run out, and it did.
It did.
Yeah. Sadly, I mean, I like Flacco. Don't really care for the organization, but whatever. They're they're kind of like the Lions at this point. It's like I would have liked to see.
Yeah.
I just want to see a team win that hasn't won in a long time. And even though the 49ers have been to the Super Bowl recently, they still haven't won since '94. So
right. So I mean, that's what they said. The 4 out of 5 years they've been in the championship game, but again, they haven't won the Super Bowl.
Yep.
I just like the Texans story, and then even the follow up. We'll get into it, but it was it was a nice win. They get the division. They have a nice wild card win.
What a great season for them. They went from the number 2 overall pick.
Yep.
And 3. I think they had 2 and 3. They still have the Browns pick this year, which is like 20 something. Yep. They have their own pick, I think. Tons of cap space. Great young quarterback. They got Dell. They got the whole 9. So like you're happy to be there, and then you also have a bright future ahead of you. Similar to the Packers, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
They're in a good spot.
Yep.
I don't think the weather would have made a difference in this game, if I'm being honest, because of the hot take was the Dolphins can't beat good teams.
Oh, yep.
And they hadn't all year, and the only team that they had beat over 500, I believe, was the Cowboys. And you actually pointed out that the Patriots had a better...
They had more wins against teams over 500
than the Dolphins.
Yeah, because we beat the Steelers and the Bills.
Broncos over 500?
I don't think so. I think they finished like 7 and 10 or something. But the Bills and the Steelers and the Dolphins only win was I don't even know
the Cowboys.
Yeah,
22 to 20.
One win.
So I don't think it would have mattered, but I mean the weather was just not on their side, and it was 26 to 7. They just never really looked like they were in it at all.
Yeah, if it's funny if you went back, because they were doing the in-season Hard Knocks. And they lost that game to the Bills, which was for the division. Mm-hmm. And there was a clip of McDaniel talking to the team in like the room or whatever, like, oh, this is tough times, yada yada yada, and all the players just looked dejected. And the top comment was just like, "This is the team that's going to get destroyed in the first round of the playoffs." You just like saw it, and they were pretty ravaged by injury. So were the Bills. Like their linebackers were annihilated.
Yeah.
And they just.
Again, they were the hot team for most of the year, couldn't beat the good teams, and then just laid an egg in the playoffs.
Yeah, they sure did. It was fun to watch that game. I don't know if I can't remember were you watching that game? No, because it was a Peacock. No.
Yeah, I watched that.
Okay. It was very cold. Like what, third coldest, fourth coldest with the wind chill. It was wild seeing Mahomes' helmet like explode. It was so freaking cold. Mm-hmm. That was wild. I never understand how people don't get frostbite from that.
Well, they said some of the fans. I mean, people that were like,
stuff. We had
no shirts on.
One of my coworkers, like some of us are remote and stuff like that. He was at the game. And he showed a picture of like his mustache. It's just like frozen over.
You would have to pay me a lot of money to go to a game.
It was pretty. I went to the Patriots Chiefs playoff game a couple of years ago. I think it was Alex Smith's last year a starter for the Chiefs.
Yep.
And at Gillette, and it was cold. And it was like. It must have been in the 20s and raining. And it was the coldest I've ever been in my life. It was so freaking cold.
Yeah, no, I don't. No.
It was cold.
I did no. I don't really care to go to the games unless it's like September, early October-ish.
It was.
I got lucky this year, but
I enjoyed it. We always take the train. I mean, it's been a couple years now, but you get on the train, it's like nice and toasty warm, so that wasn't so bad. But like actually being there, if it wasn't raining, it wouldn't have been so bad. But that was cold. That was cold. Yeah, hand warmers, the whole 9.
I went to.
I would not do that.
God,
that's like dangerous.
No. Yeah, I mean, to be outside for that long.
Yeah,
it's just crazy. I would not do that.
Yeah.
We talked about the Green Bay Dallas game. We talked a little about the Rams Lions. Them poor Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah,
it wasn't like a complete ass kicking. They weren't like out of it.
They put up a fight. The Bills still covered, which is good because that was my money pick from a few weeks ago. So I made my money on that one. But they put up a good fight. I said it was the same thing a couple of years ago when Roethlisberger's last year. They backed into the playoffs and they just lost. They just didn't have the horses to keep up.
No.
Yeah.
It was a good story, though. I mean, they were down and out, and they still finished above 500 and made the playoffs.
Tomlin's coming back, it sounds like, for his last year. I don't know if he's going to get an extension yet, but it sounds like he'll be back. And now they have a little bit of a quarterback competition come training camp. So we'll see what happens.
Is their competition really going to be,
I guess,
Kenny Pickett, Trubisky, and Mason Rudolph?
Well, I think my guess is Trubisky's gone. But like Rudolph what do you go at 3-1, 4-1? He brought him to the playoffs.
No, I get it. I do. It's just like, if I'm a Steelers fan, and that's my quarterback competition.
It's not looking good. Tiny Hands McGee, Rudolph.
It's tough.
I feel like he had a good run, but I feel like that's all it was. It was just a good run.
Yeah.
The teams weren't prepped for him, and they will be next year. It won't go so swimmingly.
Also, I just was thinking about this before when we were talking about the Dolphins. I think that their streak is the longest in the AFC without a playoff win. I think it's like 1999 that they have not had a playoff win.
Wow. That sounds
because I'm going through the list and
they won the division in 2008 when Brady hurt his knee.
But I don't think that.
I don't think they won.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw something that said that a couple weeks ago that said that they had not won a playoff game since '99, which I think is the longest streak in the AFC.
Let's see here. Just did a quick Google, and you are correct. Oh, 2000, the 2000 AFC wildcard game against the Indianapolis Colts. Since then, the Dolphins have been in the playoffs 5 times, which included a 7-year and 8-year playoff drought. Yeah,
which is crazy because
the Raiders went to the Super Bowl, the Texans obviously won, the Colts have won. Yeah, makes sense.
Even
the Jets went to the championship game, AFC championship
which is
game.
Crazy.
Yeah. Bills have won, Patriots obviously. Yeah, I'm trying to think of anyone else.
I mean, the Texans, Steelers, they've all won games.
Yeah, and the Texans won in the Schaub era, at least one. I think. Obviously the Chiefs. Yeah, that sounds right.
Crazy.
The Jags have won
23 years, 24 years.
That's rough.
Yeah.
I mean, the Lions just won their first playoff game since 91.
Well, they're going to their. Is that true?
What?
That their first playoff win?
Well, the wild card game was since I think it was their first playoff win since 91 when they went to the conference.
I know it's their first conference win because now we are in sole possession of the longest drought in the NFC. So I think there's a couple droughts that are a little bit longer than ours in the AFC.
Yep.
But in the NFC, Washington has the longest drought of not making a championship game.
Let's see what we got here. So they won in 1991. They won against the Dallas Cowboys, funnily enough. And then they lost 8 playoff games in a row.
Wow.
And they just won for the first time in 2023.
Damn.
Yep.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
So you see, all these Patriots fans, and we'll get to that too. You can see how badly things can go for a while.
Well, you know what's funny? So I went to my father's yesterday, per usual. And my cousin was there, and we're sitting in the basement, and it's decked out. So, I mean, as you would assume, it's decked out.
I've been there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he just looked at me at one point, I think because of the Lions and whatnot. He's just like, imagine sucking for that long. And I go, do you see where you are? He's like, because they've been to the playoffs. They've had RG3 year. Like, he goes, I don't equate them as being like Detroit bad, but I go, oh, no, it's pretty bad. It's pretty
bad.
It's like fucking bad. Right there with like the Browns, the Lions, the Redskins. Like, I feel like that is the bottom 3 dregs of the league. I think the only streaks in the AFC that are longer than ours about championship games might be Miami, Cleveland.
For me, it's the Browns and the Lions. Those are the 2 that I think of.
Those are the 2 like dog shit.
Although now the Lions,
not anymore.
They're making a run at it. But if we're looking at the Washington Commanders, they last won a wild card game in 2005. That was their last playoff win. It was 2005. We were still in high school.
Yeah. I mean, again, when you talk about the Patriots fans and stuff, you see how bad it could get. Mm-hmm. Since 91, we've only won 10 games. At the most we've won is 10 games in a season, and I think we've only done it like 3 or 4 times.
Mm-hmm. You've just had So since 91, let's just say that, because you won the Super Bowl in 91. Congratulations. And then
Congratulations.
you've gone to the playoffs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times, which is, I guess, more. Actually, that's pretty close to what the Lions have done. You just won it more. You just won.
We had a couple wild card wins, but like
Yeah. And you also have some Super Bowls on. You have some hardware. You have some
Right.
You have some conference.
We weren't
and not even Super Bowls. We also have conference championships because you lost the Dolphins in the Super Bowl.
We
Like,
lost to the Raiders. Yeah, we lost. We went to 5.
Like, people forget that a conference championship is not that you're forgetting this, but people forget it's a thing. Like, it's a achievement.
Well, again, I mean, they won 3 Super Bowls in 9 years, which is nothing to sneeze at, I don't think, because they also went to 5 in about that span. They went to 5 and they won 3.
They're a forgotten powerhouse, essentially.
Yeah. They were one of those, like, I mean, in the 80s is
Perennial.
sort of dominated by the Niners, but like Washington was right there.
Yeah, they went to the playoffs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times in the 80s, and then 1990, which is pretty much the same there. So yeah, they're a perennial contender. Let's just say that.
They weren't always so there was like really the Niners, Washington, and then Dallas in the early 90s. Those were like the 3 kind of powerhouses at the time, and then we just became, although all of us, if you look at it, what you just said, right? Granted, Dallas has had more success. The Niners have had more success. But those 3 teams that were the powerhouses, the 80s into the 90s, mid-90s, have not won since 91, 94, and 95.
Yeah. And the 49ers had a really bad run for a while there. They were really bad.
God, they
bad.
Them middle school, high school years.
They were rough. The Cowboys have had success, regular season success. Even the Cowboys have had a bad run, especially post-Aikman years. So I don't know. It's like varying levels of ineptitude. Although the 49ers have now gone to 2 Super Bowls, so they've reestablished themselves. But they still haven't won the big one. It's just a weird thing. It's weird. Like, how do you equate levels of bad? Because even people talk about the Patriots and like the Brady, and they were bad. But like after Kraft bought the team, you know, they went to the Super Bowl
like 5 years later, right?
Yeah, exactly. And they won. They went in '94, and even when they went, was it 4-12? And this is more anecdotal. Just from reading stuff, people were like, even though they had a really bad record after Bledsoe, they felt like they had something going, and they did.
Yeah.
And they started making progress. And even when Pete Carroll was their coach, they went 9-7. I think he went to the playoffs once. So like they had playoff runs.
I think when you look at it like that too, they were bad, you know, but they went in '85.
Yeah.
And then they were bad. They were bad. Yes. And then they went again in '96. Mm-hmm. And then 5 years later, they went on the fucking run that they went on. It was like, I know, I think because between 86 and 95, they were bad. I mean, really, like the late 80s, early 90s, they were bad.
Yeah, Kayam was the owner, especially. Yeah, you're right. And the funny thing about 85, you have to look at it through a prism, is they beat the Dolphins in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. And it's great because the Dolphins were the only team that year to beat the Bears, who went 15-1. So it's just like, it's funny to see that, like, oh, what an alteration of history potentially that could have happened if they had, hadn't beaten the Dolphins.
So the Dolphins gonna dolphin.
Yeah, they sure are. Some things don't change between the Dolphins, the Bills.
Yeah.
Some things just never change.
That's true.
And I had a rough time with the Bills-Chiefs game because I didn't know who to root for. Although I've been coming down on my Mahomes hate a little bit because,
oh, that's good.
I enjoy watching the playoffs, and like you see some teams just like turn it on, and that's what the Chiefs are doing.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't root. I think I was texting you. I can't root for the Bills.
And that I understand because it's a divisional thing.
Yeah. So.
And then we'll just spend a quick second to talk about the Philadelphia failures.
Yeah, I'll be honest, didn't watch that game because this is when I started feeling ill, and I did not watch it.
Monday night. God, I don't remember. Isn't that bad? I don't remember watching it.
Because this is the one. Wait.
No, I did watch that game. That was the late game. I did watch that game. Mm-hmm. I watched it here. Yeah. Yeah,
because we did not record because I was ill, and I was just like.
Yeah, because we were going to watch that while we recorded.
Yes.
Yeah. It was so funny because they laid the egg that Dallas laid. I mean, and I think that's when you texted me during that game, maybe when you said, I'd like to change my answer on what season was worse.
Yeah, who had the bigger collapse, them or the Jags? And I think I said the Jags because at least the Eagles made the playoffs, but was that any better?
But I mean, it's just like so embarrassing.
Yeah.
And that's another one. Another coach that was potentially on the hot seat that they said that they're bringing back is Sirianni.
Yes. Now I did read or hear that they did this. They did something similar with Peterson, where like they told him go get some better different coordinators, and then maybe we'll keep you. But he didn't, and he got bounced.
You know who they were interviewing?
No.
Ron Rivera.
Oh no. He's going to keep coaching. Oh jeez. Better than Patricia. I mean, hey, as soon as that they really screwed the pooch on that one, tried to warn you. Listen to the show.
Not a good move.
Yeah, not a good move at all. Not a good move.
I think a big thing again is no one player is everything, but AJ Brown not being there is like there's only a handful of guys you could be like, well, if he's not playing.
Yep. He was the big trigger with him with Hurts taking that leap. And now with Kelsey potentially retiring, which is not official yet, but it sounds like it.
Yeah.
So we'll see. He's losing a very important piece of the puzzle, and curious to see what Brown does. Just you know how those wide receivers are. Him, Diggs, yada yada yada.
But he'll have options. There's a lot of decent free agents coming up.
Yep, good for Baker though. Our boy Baker. There's a small part of me that was rooting for him.
I know. I did. I hate on Baker because it's just when I've given him my trust, he has burnt me.
Yeah.
And us in this show.
It is funny going back throughout the history of the season. It's funny we finished all the regular season. And in the first playoff one, my fault. But it's just funny how
you get sick. It's going to happen.
We even said how impressive it was that we made it like all these weeks in a row.
Yeah, and then we pulled a Dallas. The show pulled a Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, not just them. Oh man, there was a small part of me that was like every game this week. I was like I could go either way, except for the Chiefs and Bills game. I was gonna be unhappy either way.
Yeah.
But I would have been happy no matter which team won. Now every team has won. The Buccaneers won fairly recently, obviously, and the Chiefs, but everyone else has not won in a very long time.
Yeah, because when did Baltimore win? What was that, 10 years ago?
Like 2012, 2013?
Yeah. Sounds right.
Yeah, one of those years.
I agree. I didn't really care. I did root for Buffalo because, again, for somebody who my team's never fucking in it.
Yep.
Oh, really anybody, I guess. It's like if your team's not in it, you just don't want to see the same teams over and over again. Unless it's your team, you just don't want to see it. And it's like, to your point with the Niners are always in there and they're competitive, but they haven't won it. Mm-hmm. If they did, I wouldn't be mad at it.
Yeah, I would like to see them get over the hump. I would like, my younger self would like to see that. I would like to see Brock Purdy succeed. I feel like he gets a lot of hate, which is, I don't think it's fully warranted. This is weird. I think, too, because you're looking at all these quarterbacks and all the playoffs, and every quarterback for this past week was a first-round pick except for Purdy. Why people were hating on him, I don't know. It's like he fell into a good situation, and good for him. He's playing well. I don't think he is an MVP. I don't think he's that. I don't think he is that. I don't think he's that good, and I think it's borne out a little bit there. But he led a game-winning drive.
Yeah, I could see what you're saying. He's not like a Mahomes, a Brady, a Manning, a Rodgers. I could see that, but he's still like he fell into a good spot. He was also on a team that had Jimmy G and Trey Lance that they just drafted, and he's still through injury, got his chance and fucking ran with it.
Yeah, he did better than them. And they didn't do as well as he was doing. And I hate all these people that say like, because the stat, you talk about being a stat guy, the stats never bear it out. I was reading someone's like, they were talking about Mahomes a little bit long ago, and like, oh, Mahomes is gonna dink and dunk it down like Brady used to. And if you look at the stats, Brady's like yard per attempt was way longer than any quarterback in the league at the time. So that stuff just drives me insane.
Do you think that those numbers were swayed by the 1 year he could just throw it to Randy? Because that was the only time he really threw deep ball.
Well, that Purdy reminds you of Brady, but Brady was not Brady until 2007-ish. When he started he started becoming. Yeah,
I think those early Super Bowls though they were more of the dink and dunk, but then they got guys like Gronk, Hernandez, and Randy. The then they could stretch the field more, but a lot of it, I think in the early years, it was very like
it was also a different game. Talking about the coaching news recently and like Belichick and
I know we didn't even get into.
I know. Like I said, nothing happened in the NFL world. the league passing certain people by and the league not being the same.
Yeah.
And I've heard a lot. I mean, I've been pouring over all that stuff. I mean, there's the Commanders news as well. Like it wasn't just us.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know how if you want to finish. I mean, we talked about pretty much every game, I think.
Well, we'll go through. I don't know if we went through the divisional round, really.
No, we just kind of we started talking about one team, and then we also talked about their divisional game too. We'll be back to normal next week. When
that's fair.
There's 2 games to talk about.
We're doing a little rusty, Yeah, we did kind of jump around. I was rooting for Houston just because it was a fun thing.
Yeah.
But I'm not mad at the Ravens winning.
No, it was interesting that they kept it so close. That Ravens defense, again, is very good. They gave up 3 points offensively because there was a punt return for a touchdown.
Yeah.
And if you're the Texans, that's what you need to do to win those kind of games. You need a special team score. But that Ravens defense, we said it a few weeks ago, they fly. They fly. And, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like they shouldn't be as good as they are, but they are. And they're crushing it. And Lamar is also crushing it. I'm glad he got a little bit of that playoff monkey off his back.
Yeah.
So hopefully he keeps it up because Josh Allen can't topple Mahomes, but maybe Lamar can. So we'll see.
I know. There's going to be a lot of people rooting for Lamar.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
We kind of talked about that game, the Green Bay. Yeah, I know. We jumped around so much.
No, I think we kind of touched it. We talked about a game, the wild card game, and then we just kind of talked about it here.
Yeah.
We talked about the Lions and the Buccaneers game. The Buccaneers put up a fight. I was rooting for Baker a little bit, but they just didn't have the firepower. And
another team that, they overachieved.
Yeah.
They played well.
Won the division, won a wild card, won a playoff game.
Could you imagine, though, we were saying this yesterday. Now, Green Bay had that game till the end. Tampa was in it till the end. Can you imagine if it was Tampa and Green Bay? And Green Bay would have knocked off, or even before that, right? Say if Detroit wins, Green Bay wins. Green Bay would have had the edge because, that's a divisional game, and they split during the regular season. They know the Lions well. Yeah. So they would have potentially knocked off the 1, the 2, and went for the 3.
Yeah, it would have been like and
it would have been
Giants a couple of years ago.
Right.
That's what I was equating it to, yeah.
Imagine your conference championship game is against a team that you know well and split during the season.
Yeah. Anything could happen there. I think the Giants, when they knocked off the Cowboys in the divisional round, it was that same thing. It was like a divisional game. Anything can happen.
Right.
So that is pretty wild. And I like the underdogs, and this is one of the reasons that the NFL is king is because a small market team can win.
Yeah.
Imagine the Kansas City Royals being the Chiefs. Like the MLB would hate it. They hate it. They had those 2 good years, and then they're gone.
Right.
But the Chiefs, Kansas City, small market. Green Bay, small market.
Yep.
So it's cool to see some of those smaller teams, even Tampa Bay.
I think this is the playoffs are fun so long as it's not the Chiefs in the Super Bowl and the Niners. If the Niners don't win,
right,
that's where I'm at with this.
Wait, you don't want?
I'm not a fan. If my perfect Super Bowl,
you're right.
Is going to be Detroit and Baltimore, with Detroit winning.
Yeah.
That's what I would like to see.
I can get behind that. I would not hate Lamar to win.
I would not hate Lamar to win either.
Yeah. I think that'd be cool. Any team I'll take except for the Chiefs. It's also just boring. I get it now as a Patriots fan. My people thought it was boring.
Yeah.
I certainly do. I do think this is the Chiefs' this is their last best chance because Kelsey's not getting any younger. Andy Reid, if they win, he has to retire. I would imagine.
That's what, and then they could bring in their boy EB.
Yep, there you go.
Take him away from us. We were talking about that yesterday too, but and Kelsey's getting a little bit older too. I see that. But then if they went out and signed like a T. Higgins, they could be right back in this fucking thing.
Yeah. So.
But I would rank it to I'd like to see Detroit, probably the Niners, Baltimore, and then the Chiefs. Yeah, that's who I would. That's how I would rank who I would want them to win.
As a divisional, I don't know any Bills fans. It's I know Dolphins.
Okay, we were gonna go through this in the off season.
Shout out Zach Goldberg, Dolphins fan.
Yeah,
but I don't know any Bills fans, even from high school, middle school. I don't know anyone except for the Bills Mafia.
The herd that used to go to the arena.
Right. Yeah. That's the herd. That's what it was.
Yeah.
So we used to go watch live games at the arena.
The arena.
And then All-Stars.
Yep.
And then somewhere else. And we always saw this herd.
And they would just fucking
Buffalo
move.
fan. Yeah,
and they just,
herd.
yeah, the
There's
herd.
hundreds, like a ton of them.
But at the arena in Cranston, they had their own little setup.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think the place just closed. One day I went there and it was like, hello? you guys got the games on? The doors were fucking locked.
We went to go watch. Then we watched some games at All-Stars in Warwick, and they were there.
And they were there again.
It was like Tyrod Taylor years, I remember. Like,
yeah.
And they were into it.
Yep.
Into it.
Yep.
And I wonder what they're doing now.
I can't think if I know. I used to work with a guy at Advance that was a Bills fan way back in the day.
Any fan that watches their team go to 4 Super Bowls in a row and lose them all is a friend of mine. I can't disrespect you. Like,
right.
That's tough.
Right. That's tough. I'll never know what that's like. Because we could never make it. We don't have the opportunity to lose.
And now I have to give Bass a little bit of love here, the kicker. That dude was put in a shitty position at the end of that game.
But the wind took that.
Yeah.
I mean, it sailed. It wasn't down the middle, but it was there.
And you talk about the Rams game, making a better field goal attempt. All game long, all they're doing is talking about the wind and the weather, and it's a problem. Mm-hmm. And then if you watch that field goal, look at the flags over the goalposts. They're flapping. Yeah. They are flapping. And there was second down, and they had 2 plays to get a little bit closer. And Josh Allen, for whatever reason, even though Diggs did not have a good game, maybe that was part of it, had 2 guys on crossing routes, 2 plays in a row, and for whatever reason, he went for the home run ball.
The last one I remember, and I don't know if it was, I doubt it was designed this way, but on the 2 crossing, or the 2 that were like right in a line with each other, that last third down, he was rolling to his right. Yeah, and I think he saw that and intentionally didn't throw crossbody.
Yeah.
But I don't remember the play before that. Because that one I was like...
I swear Diggs was open.
He was running to his right, and they did circle it. Oh, they need to go here. But it's like, when you have 2 defenders, when you're throwing it across field, that's what happened with Love.
Yeah.
He's like... But I don't remember the play before that.
It was weird. I was saying... I mean, I said McDermott should have got fired a couple of years ago on the 13 seconds. I legitimately said he should have been fired. And I stand by that. And now he should just get fired again. It's like a Tony Dungy situation when he was coaching the Colts.
Yeah.
The Buccaneers. Yeah. Couldn't get him over the hump. He brought in John Gruden. Boom.
They are a team that cannot get past the divisional round. That's kind of where they live.
Yeah.
In a year where you didn't even have to worry about Cincinnati because Joe B was out.
It is rough that this is now the 3rd time they've lost to. This is the 3rd time, right?
So they just said that before during that game. They beat him the last 3 times in the regular season, and they're 0-3 in the postseason. It's like, whoa, what the fuck is not working? And they're close games.
Yeah, some teams turn it on. Mahomes is ready to go. Kelsey had a great game.
Yep.
So
the playoff experience, though, it's like, other than the fans, the weather was never going to be in it because they said they made a big deal about Mahomes' first road game on the playoffs. I'm like, I don't think they're fucking mad. It's not like he's in Miami and he's going to like a Buffalo or something.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
With the weather.
It helps that he's in Kansas City where it's typically pretty cold.
Yeah.
So like he's used to it. Just noise and stuff. But like for the great players, it doesn't matter. I mean, Brady beat them in Arrowhead in the AFC Championship game.
I was going to say that this is adding fuel to your Brady fire, but Mahomes' only 2 playoff losses was against Brady.
Yeah. And the best thing, and it's silly. And now the more I think about it, the less I care about it. Especially as we get farther away from Tom Brady, like the farther away we get.
Yeah,
although he's going to be on our freaking TVs every week because he's going to be on Fox.
Oh my God,
potentially.
I'm just going to mute it.
We'll see what happens. I feel bad for Greg Olsen, but like they had that Super Bowl, and I was like, if Brady wins, he just has the tiebreaker forever. Unless Mahomes wins 8 Super Bowls, like he'll always have that tiebreaker of the AFC Championship game and the Super Bowl. So it is pretty wild. But that Chiefs team was beat up too. So we'll see. We shall see. Hopefully Lamar is the Joe Flacco to to Mahomes. But we'll see.
I'm ready for it.
Yeah,
I am ready for it, and we're into the. So I had a beer of the week, but they're gone. I had the Bud Zeros, which I'll get it for next week. I had
How are they?
Better than the Corona.
So I left 2 weeks ago, 2 Mondays, and like I said, I woke up with a little tickle in my throat, and I was like, "Was it the Coronas? Were they that bad?"
They were skunked beyond proportion.
And I haven't had a Corona in a very long time, so I don't know.
Yeah,
what skunked. I don't know.
But as soon as I cracked it,
you waft.
it just stunk the room up. Oh my God.
That's okay. I have been pretty good with the dry January, so I haven't really. Oh, I did have a athletic yesterday.
There you go.
I enjoyed that. I still have one in that fridge there if I really wanted to get. Oh, it's gone too. Oh man, you really went all out.
Well, because I had cheese and Pete upstairs, and I was like, "Listen, this is the only thing I have. I had one Corona, I had 3 Bud Zeros, and a fucking athletic. It was like a hodgepodge of NAs. So that's what we drank.
Nice.
So I will get more.
Yesterday was the first day I felt good, like fully back to like 100%.
Yeah.
So I had myself a nice NA.
There you go. Treat yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm going to continue making a Joker pick through the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And if you're going to continue to make your money pick
I will.
throughout the Super Bowl, to the Super Bowl.
I will. Obviously, the choices get less and less as we proceed forward.
Yeah, let's run through. God, which one is this one? Oh, wait, actually, do we have a hot take?
No, we don't have a playoff one yet.
Dang.
I've been having Braden pick the playoff winners.
Okay.
So actually, I'll go into that just so that I could replace her segment with Braden's segment. My 3-year-old. Let me see what he got here.
So he's doing his picks?
Yeah. He picked the Texans. He picked the Dolphins and the wild card. Missed that one up. And then he picked did he pick the Bills? And forget it. I thought I wrote it down, but I apparently only wrote down 2 of them, so I'll try to remember for
All right, well, he's at 500.
Yeah, pretty good. He's pretty good. I think he picked the Packers, actually, which is pretty funny. Yeah.
So those are the picks.
Yep, that's right.
You got your picks.
Mm-hmm.
I'll let you run through all the games. all the games this week.
Oh man. Now I will say last week I made my picks ahead of time. I wrote them down to make sure that no cheating. Sure. And I went 5-1 wild card weekend, and 3-1 last week. The only one that I picked was the Bills, who did not win.
Yes, same. I went 4-2, and then I went 3-1.
All right, Bills. Alrighty, so we only got. Come on, ESPN.
Wait, I don't see spreads up. Do you?
I would tell you if ESPN ever.
They don't have it listed.
I can tell you on the Rhode Island Sportsbook.
Yeah, because on ESPN they're not listing the spread right now.
I gotta say, Rhode Island Sportsbook, you drive me crazy. You do like promos and stuff, but I have no idea how to use it. Like, you get free $10 bet. It's so.
Oh, I found it.
Difficult. I figure that shit out.
It's weird. If you go to the schedule, it doesn't show you. But if you go to scores and go to the conference championship,
oh, here we go. Yes, scoreboard. Yeah, I gotcha. Come on.
Wow, I'm a little surprised at the spread on the second game.
Yeah, I am too. Looking at that. All right. All right, first game. So Sunday, January 28th, 3 p.m. on CBS, we have the Kansas City Chiefs, who are 6-2 on the road, traveling to the Baltimore Ravens, who are 6-3 at home. And the Baltimore Ravens are 3.5-point favorites. I'm going with my heart, and I want the Ravens to win.
I couldn't say it any better.
Yeah.
I'm going to do the same exact thing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Chiefs have the playoff experience. They have the playoff coaching. They've won it. I wouldn't be surprised. I just don't want it. And the Ravens, honestly, even up until this point, have been so under the radar.
I know.
I know. How they're like the best team in the league, and they're just under the radar. But I
even like the Texans game, it was 10-10 at the half, and then they're just like, forget this, and then they just blew the doors off of them.
But you know what? We were talking about that too. The Ravens didn't play their starters, and then they had a bye. So really, the starters didn't play in like 3 weeks. This is the same thing with the Niners.
That's true. That's why they started slow. Yeah,
the Niners didn't have a great game.
That is a good point. The other thing that's really throwing me off about this, and I don't know why this is, but look at the ticket prices. So for the Chiefs Ravens, there's tickets as low as $424.
Yeah.
And then the 6:30. The Lions travel to the Santa Clara 49ers. Tickets as low as $17. What?
You know what it is? It's because the West Coast is so soft.
Yeah.
They're so soft.
Now, I believe this is the first conference championship Baltimore has hosted ever. The Ravens.
Wow.
I think the Baltimore Colts may have hosted, but the Ravens never have.
It could be like the tickets to the Lions game. I'm sure, like last week and this week, I'm sure that they were out of control because
I would just think more Lions fans are like going to. I don't know, but like so the Ravens in 2000, their Super Bowl run, they were 10-6. They were the wild card team, so they didn't host the AFC Championship game.
Yeah,
and then they beat I think it was the Broncos in Denver with Joe Flacco.
Yeah,
so I don't think they've ever hosted an AFC Championship game.
Interesting.
$424 seems like a lot of money, but I guess people really want to see it. I would think a lot of like Lions fans are traveling to Santa Clara to watch that game, but $17.
But that's because, again, I feel like this isn't a knock on the Lions. This is a knock on the Niners and the West Coast.
And I've heard shenanigans about Levi Stadium where it's not the best, like just location.
Yeah,
and it's all very bougie, and people get priced out. Apparently, especially San Francisco. People getting priced out of that stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean that's like
Gillette.
That's like the bougie of the bougie,
it's
really.
Just so corporate. It's so annoying.
They're soft. I mean, you got to think about it too. Like at that game in the Super Bowl was at 6:30. Like we just say that all the time. Like why can't the Super Bowl be on a fucking Saturday or be earlier?
I know
because the West Coast gets it at 3:30. Yeah, we get it at 6:30, and it's a 5-hour fucking production.
I don't know why the Super Bowl hasn't moved to a Saturday. My fear...
Wait, wasn't there a reason behind that?
I don't know.
I can't think of a good one, but...
right. My biggest fear with this whole like Peacock thing is streaming services thing, is that the Super Bowl is going to move to a streaming thing, like an Apple, or pay-per-view.
I got to say, I did not like the fact that a playoff game. If you Thursdays on Amazon, whatever.
Yeah.
You want to do a Saturday game when they do it later in the year, Saturday game on Peacock or something, fine. A fucking playoff game.
Yep.
And they made this like outrageous claim that it was the most streamed fucking I was like that. Those are like Logan Paul, Jake Paul boxing numbers. It's not real. There's no fucking way.
Yeah.
There's no way that they had 23 million people watching that fucking game. I just don't believe it.
It wasn't
easy to watch.
It's shenanigans because they brand it as historic. Get the hell out of here. That's so sad. I will say, I did help. Well, not help, but I did talk. I did send the link to my father-in-law. My father he knows how to stream because he watches the Premier League, so he knows Peacock, so he's on there. So he was able to watch it.
Yeah.
But I can imagine that there was a lot of older people out there who were unable to watch this.
Yeah.
Unless it was just on their computer or something like that. But I don't really believe those numbers either. I think it's all fluff.
It's all like a conspiracy. It's all conspiracy theory.
None of they don't have. I mean, I guess unless it's like on a quarterly report, or like a publicly traded company, they have to share those numbers on like whatever, like the subscribers and stuff. But nothing's stopping someone from getting it for 1 month and then just dumping it, right?
Yeah, you absolutely could do that.
But they don't have like Netflix does the same thing. They cancel shows, but they never give out numbers as to who watches it and when and how to prove that. How the hell am I supposed to know?
Well, that's why anytime like they'll come up with like these influencer boxing things and shit. And they come up with these outrageous fucking pay-per-view numbers, and then like people in the know, like a Dana White would be like, because they're just so fucking far-fetched. Like, there's no way that like Logan Paul against Dylan Dennis had millions of fucking buyers. There's just no way. There's no way. The UFC doesn't pull those numbers.
Yeah, I don't even know. I mean, I know who the first name is. Unfortunately, I don't know who the second name was.
Oh, he's a jiu-jitsu guy, but he's Connor's teammate and blah, blah, blah. But it's just like they can just come up with these arbitrary numbers or fluff the numbers and be like, to me, it's shitty to make people put them through a paywall to watch football.
Yes.
Like,
and one of the big, in my opinion, one of the big reasons why the NFL is popular as it is because it's always been on, except for Monday Night Football, which is always like a premium game when it used to be on. Yeah, because that's on ESPN, right? Yeah, they're always been across over the air. CBS, NBC, they've always been available.
Yep.
And now all of us in Fox, and now you start putting walls up, and it's just shitty.
I could the Amazon thing on Thursday nights, that's one thing, but the playoffs?
Yeah.
Playoffs?
Right.
Playoffs? You kidding me?
That was pretty good. That was a good impression.
Thanks.
Welcome.
I was going to try Allen Iverson playoffs, but I didn't think it was going to really. Practice. Sorry.
Yeah.
I did have it right.
Yep. It's silly. I think it's silly.
I don't like it.
Don't block people from watching it.
I don't like it. It's bad enough with the UFC. There's 2 fucking paywalls.
I know. It's only going to get worse
ridiculous.
now that Peacock and what's the other one? Paramount Plus. Fox is the only one that doesn't have one. They all have it except Fox. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like everybody moved away from cable because streaming services are cheaper, but then you're going to get all these services that are going to add up to more than your cable will.
Well, yeah, you're just going to call it Cable 2.0, just bundle them all together. But the funny thing is all these companies that are doing like Disney, Peacock, they're all in the red from like their streaming version because it's expensive.
Yeah.
There's a lot of overhead there.
Yeah.
They're making gangbusters just licensing this out to Netflix, but no, they all got to take in all their stuff, and now they're in the bleeding it. And that's why they're paying the NFL $100 billion to get an exclusive game on Peacock. But I'm hoping it just continues to burn them. It just burns them.
Yeah, and there's always going to be a breaking point with that shit. Like, I won't pay X amount, whatever that number may be, for like a Netflix. But I do understand price increases because Netflix puts out their own production shit, like their own shows, their own movies. So, like, naturally, there's got to be funding for those things that you're watching.
Yeah, like, I get that because people started pulling their stuff from them to put on their own services. They had to branch out and make their own stuff. So, like, I do get it to a degree. And I also will say I lowered from the Ultra for 4K to like regular, and I don't even notice a difference. And I have a 4K TV. My eyes can't determine the pixels. It's not that big a deal. But one person I read said like they order it monthly, and then if they're not watching anything, they just cancel it and they just pick it back up when they
because I don't think it really changes. I mean,
but yeah, there's definitely a point of just like I can't. I'm just not gonna.
Yeah.
So like I don't think I have Paramount Plus. It's the one I don't have. Because it's just too much. It's too much. It's too much. Too much.
Too much.
Too much. And like ESPN, you have like freaking 7 channels. You have ESPN, you have ESPN2, you have ESPNU, you have
ESPN Me,
ESPN Classic, ESPN-C. It's all out there. You don't need.
I'm telling you, I always say if it wasn't for the UFC being on ESPN Plus, I would not fucking have it. I would never watch ESPN.
I do enjoy I do like having the PGA Tour on there. I won't lie, because like I said, it's a Thursday morning, Friday morning. I just throw it on, and it's like background noise.
Sure.
And they can't put that on there, although there's a golf channel. So again, I don't know.
I know
Shenanigans. All right,
we're back.
This is why we gotta fluff it out because there's only 2 games this week.
That's right.
So going to the other game that is not on a streaming service, to my knowledge, I think it's on their website. 6:30 p.m. We got Fox. We got the Detroit Lions, and we got them traveling to the Santa Clara 49ers. If you want to go, it's only tickets as low as $17.
$17. Easy
peasy lemon squeezy. The cool thing about the Chiefs-Ravens game is that Kelsey actually is 7 catches away from breaking the record of most receptions in the playoffs in history. Jerry Rice.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
So keep an eye on that. Lions, 49ers. This is, I think this is kind of wild. 49ers are 7-point favorites.
Now, what's the injury report on Debo?
That's a good question.
Because I don't think it was. I heard something today that was more positive, but I don't know about his playing status. It just said an injury wasn't as bad as they thought.
He avoided a fractured shoulder, and his status for the NFC title game is up in the air. He injured the same shoulder earlier this season.
Listen, we've said it here on this program. Their losing streak was when Debo was out, and I know that they looked rusty because their starters hadn't played in a couple weeks, but they really right until the fucking end were losing that game, and Debo was out. And my heart says Detroit, Rock City.
Yep.
And I think that they're feeling it right now.
Yeah,
they're feeling it. And this isn't like a weather thing. Like they're playing in fucking San Francisco. And golf is played in California.
That's true. And Detroit is in a dome, so it's like not like it's bad weather there. I have been riding them all year long. This has been my team that I've been following. Laporta is still playing, which I'm very happy about. I got to take the Lions. And they're 7-point underdogs, so I got to take that, right? Shit. Because even if they lose, I imagine they will lose by less than 7. So, yep.
That's your money. I didn't have a Joker. My Joker pick is my Joker pick is going to be the Chiefs.
Yeah, that's a good one.
They're the Joker pick. Listen, I would also like to see that.
It's very tough.
It is, because honestly, the Chiefs are the only team that I just don't want to see win it. Yep. The other 3, I'm cool with any of them. I'd prefer to see Detroit. Again, when you have a team, when you're a fan of a team that is the dregs of the league, like I put Washington in that dregs of the league.
Yeah.
They have more hardware than Detroit. When Cleveland, Detroit, Washington, there's certain teams that are like dregs of the league.
Yep.
To see one of them, even if it's not my team, get over that hump, it just feel like it'd be good for the league if the Lions were the Super Bowl champions.
Yeah. Oh God, they would
be fucking
Detroit
great.
Would be riding that high forever.
They need it. They fucking need it.
Now I will also say, just looking at the cities themselves, San Francisco, they have the Warriors. They've won plenty.
Yeah.
The Giants won 3 in like 6 years, not too long ago. Baltimore, have they won anything? The Orioles finally went to the playoffs after like a 10-year drought.
Yeah, I mean,
do they even have a basketball team?
Well, the Baltimore, no, I don't think so. I would say the Ravens probably in 2012, 2013.
And Detroit, when was Detroit's last championship? The Pistons in 2005?
Look at the Red Wings, I guess. I don't know when the last time the Red Wings won it.
They had a good run. But they've been pretty bad. They had a good playoff run.
The city of Detroit had to sacrifice the Pistons for the Lions to happen, so they need to finish this up.
2008.
The Red Wings?
Yeah.
Okay, so that would probably be their most recent, because I don't think the Pistons have won since the early 2000s.
I think 2005 was the Pistons.
Well, they spoiled the party, right? They sort of spoiled the
Big Four.
Yeah. 04?
I think you might be right. I think 05 they went. Yeah, you're right. 2004. They went in 2005, lost to the Spurs.
Yep.
So yeah, Detroit has not won a championship since 2008.
Yeah.
The Warriors just won, obviously, against our Boston Celtics a couple of years ago. The Chiefs have won plenty, and the Ravens last won in 2012. And they only have 2 teams. They have the Ravens and they have the Orioles.
Yeah, I don't think we're missing anybody, right?
They don't have hockey. They don't have a hockey team.
No.
Even Washington, the Nationals, they just won the World Series a couple of years ago, so at least they have something. Not that you have like a
I know. You're going like with the region, sure.
Yeah, but like Detroit really needs this.
They need it. Because even with the Pistons and the Red Wings, I know the Red Wings historically have been decent, good and won and blah blah. But if you're not a hockey fan either, if you are what if you're just a diehard football fan and that's your thing, you have suffered.
Yeah, and
the suffering needs to end.
They're the only team here that has never won a Super Bowl. Every other team has won a Super Bowl. Even if you take away the Mahomes Super Bowls, the Chiefs have won a Super Bowl. 49ers been a long time, but
they've won. They've won the second, third most.
Who?
The 49ers.
Oh yeah,
all time.
Yeah, they won 5.
So it's like, I'm not saying that none of them deserve it. I would just say my ranking of I would prefer to see the Lions, the Niners, the Ravens, the Chiefs.
I have probably the exact ranking.
It would just be nice.
Yeah, it would be good for the NFL to get a new winner then there.
They have been fucking bad, and they had great talent over the years too. You look at like a Barry Sanders, Calvin Johnson, a Matthew Stafford. Like they have had guys, they just can't get over the hump.
Not only did they make Barry Sanders retire early, they made
Calvin
Johnson retire early. That's two Hall of Famers they made retire early, which is just
they made Stafford say, "Trade me."
Yeah, and it's just not even a good story for the Lions, but for Goff, because people forget he took a team. He's been to the Super Bowl,
Yeah, and he was kind of like thrown away by the Rams.
Yeah.
In favor of Stafford, it paid off, but also it's like Goff was written off as like a fucking afterthought.
Yeah, and the last time they. When that trade happened, I remember right away people were like, "Oh, who's the quarterback of the future?" People were like, "It's Goff." And Jason Campbell too. People shit on him when they first hired him, and look at him now.
Who?
That's it again. I always say Jason Campbell.
Listen,
your boy.
Lionel Richie. I know you said Jason Campbell. I was like, wait, is he coaching? Because actually, Mark Brunell is their quarterbacks coach.
Really?
For the Lions. And the other thing is, all right, so if the Lions, I just fast forward to whenever the season's over, if they are hoisting the trophy or not, so I can get my fucking new coach.
Yeah.
That's really all I'm waiting for.
Well, apparently I didn't realize that they ask teams to wait until after the divisional round.
I thought it was after this. I thought it was after conference. You can do virtuals.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
I know you can do virtual interviews now, but I think, maybe you might be right. It's after one of the rounds, but you have to wait to do in person. But I thought it was after this one, maybe because there's a 2-week break to do in person interviews. I don't know, but Ben Johnson is like the favorite.
Yeah,
it's likely.
Yeah, the last time a team won for the Super Bowl for the first time was 52 when the Eagles beat the Patriots. So that's 2018. So we need a first time winner here. There's only a few left. So let's go.
Who are you going with?
What?
Did you say you were going with the Lions?
I'll go with the Lions, yeah. Which is why I'm picking them, because even if they lose, I imagine they'll lose by less than 7. So
I think that's your money pick.
At a minimum, I think they'll cover. But I will pick them to win.
Fair enough. Okay.
Yeah. So we got the Ravens-Lions Super Bowl.
I would love it.
I'm all for it.
I would love it. I think that would be a very tough game for the Lions.
Yeah. Ravens 49ers happened in 2013. Boring. Chiefs 49ers just happened in 2020. So boring. And Ravens 49ers. I literally just said that.
Yep.
So yeah. So last one there. I guess Chiefs. Yeah, Chiefs and Lions we need. And so would excuse me, Baltimore. But I prefer Baltimore.
I do too. Just because I just don't want to see the Chiefs anymore. But and also screw them anyway.
Yeah.
You know, they for some reason get to keep their name. They can do the tomahawk chop. They keep the logo. It was a hit job. I think this was a fucking hit job.
Yep.
Because Mahomes is the poster boy of the league, and the Chiefs get to keep all their shit.
I don't remember seeing them do the tomahawk during the playoff game, but
they did in the Super Bowl. They had the most American thing I ever saw was people in Germany doing the tomahawk chop. It's like the one thing that they said that was like offensive. They do it all the time. It's great. It's America, baby. All right. So anyway, we're back up. We're back up and running. We got a couple weeks left of the season. We're gonna have an in between Pro Bowl segment.
I mean, I'll watch some of that Pro Bowl stuff. I don't know how we want to handle all the front office news that's been dropping.
Maybe we'll do it for that week.
Yeah.
We'll do the conference championship. We'll have a week in between where we can talk more off season. We'll do a whole recap kind of thing.
Because we all know the Patriots, nothing happened during the time we were off.
Yeah, absolutely nothing happened.
Commanders didn't hire anyone. It's a freeze across the league.
It is weird.
Yeah.
It's very, very weird that there was like no news.
I know. But it's so very nice of them. I appreciate it.
But that's the way the cookie crumbles.
So that's a good point. And then, like you said, by that time, I imagine there will be more news on the hiring front for hopefully us too, with like coordinators and stuff. Because I mean, Billy O'Brien's gone, so let's do a whole just start fresh.
I like it. Yeah, so we'll do the recap next week, and then Pro Bowl week we'll just do kind of like a recap off season stuff. Then we'll do a Super Bowl recap party, and then from there we don't even know where we're going.
I know
yet.
It's follow us into the unknown. We'll see what happens. We'll definitely keep it sports themed, football themed, sports themed. But the Celtics are playing great.
Yes.
Spring training is soon. Although I don't really watch baseball anymore, but I try to keep up with it.
But there's some draft stuff, but I think we also might have some fun stuff like, our top 5 quarterbacks.
Yeah, we've mentioned some stuff like as the season has gone on, we've talked about like, we could do this, we could talk about that.
Yeah.
We have, who are the fans out there of other teams that don't really know about. So good stuff on the horizon. But it'll be fun. So
we're back up and running. Some of that we'll be able to batch, so we won't have to worry about jamming. It's very tough. We record on a Monday typically. We put it out the next day, but life happens. It's difficult.
Like I said, it's impressive that we went 18 weeks.
And then we cowboyed.
I know.
We pulled a cowboy.
It's like, you can count on us.
Psych. Once the playoffs hit, we fell apart, just like the Cowboys. All right. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Let us know your picks. Because now we're down to like 2 fucking games.
Yep.
Let us know your picks.
Yep.
Your hot takes.
Yep.
And we'll see you next week.
Bye.